Welcome to the Organizedpreneur Podcast, where we dive deep into the art of launching and streamlining your podcast and business for growth. I'm your host, Aldreama Harper. With more than 2 decades of experience in the organizing space, transforming chaos into order and launching 3 podcasts, I decided to combine those experiences to share my insider tips and proven strategies so that you can avoid the pitfalls I've had to overcome. So, whether you're just starting out or looking to enhance your existing endeavor, you'll get the knowledge, the tools, and the strategies to work more efficiently when launching your business or your podcast. You ready? Let's go. Creating engaging podcast episodes involves careful planning and structuring. But with a detailed step by step formula, you can design content that captivates and retains your audience. So, today we're going to talk about how to design your content by crafting engaging episodes. So, I want to give you this 5 step formula that I believe is going to help you in this process. So, let's get right into it. Step one: develop a content plan. Develop a content plan. When you are creating and crafting your podcast episodes, you want to make sure that, first of all, you have a content plan. Regular and well planned content keeps your audience engaged and it keeps them coming back. It also helps you to stay organized and reduces that last minute scramble for topics. Have you ever been in that place where it's like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about? Well, that's when developing a content plan helps you. Because when you don't have a content plan, you will be scrambling for topics, you will be scrambling for content, right? Because it becomes inconsistent and irregular. Irregular content release can lead to loss of audience and interest. They don't trust you anymore because they don't know when you're going to show up because you're not consistent. And without a plan, you can even begin to struggle to produce content consistently, which will ultimately lead to stress and burnout. I remember my first endeavor in the podcast space. I was very inconsistent. I knew what my topic was. However, I was still inconsistent because I did not have a plan and I did not have a content calendar, right? And so it began to lead for me to for stress, and I wasn't necessarily burnt out, but it was leading me to that place of stress and potential burnout. And so it's very, very important to develop a content plan. Number two, structure your episodes. Structure your episodes. And so when you structure your episodes, you will have more clarity. A well structured episode helps the listener follow along easily because you have more clarity about what your topics are. You have a content plan, you have a calendar in place, and so you have a good structure. And structured episodes will keep the listeners engaged from start to finish. But when you do not have structure to your episodes, it will confuse and frustrate your listeners. They'll lose interest and they'll stop listening eventually, even before it gets started, especially if the content is not organized. So, structure your episodes in a very organized fashion. What do I mean by that? Make sure that you have a format, a framework for your episodes. Make sure that you're not all over the place. Make sure that you have at least your intro, your content, and your outro for made consistently for each episode so that your listeners know what to expect. Number three, craft engaging content. Craft engaging content. Engaging content will keep your listeners coming back for more and more and more and more. And when you have satisfied listeners, they're more likely to recommend your podcast to other people. right? There's nothing like other people sharing your podcast with other people because they enjoyed the content so much. Now, when you don't do that, when you do not have engaging content, meaning you're not crafting content that brings the listeners in, that really captures the audience, that helps them to resonate with what you're talking about. Maybe it's storytelling. Maybe it's something that you read, or maybe your own personal experiences. But you want content that is relevant for your listeners. So it's important that when you're creating content that you keep them engaged, because boring or irrelevant content will lead to a decline in listeners. Not only that, poor content can result in negative reviews. And we know how much negativity can spread. It will damage your reputation. Okay, so craft engaging content. Number 4, edit and publish your episodes. Edit and publish your episodes. So, high quality editing enhances your professionalism and credibility. It helps to remove the unnecessary content, ensuring that your message is clear and concise. And I tell people all the time that the things that you can do in the editing process will really help to create a more professional flow, a more professional episode, a more professional podcast. And you can do a lot in the editing process that you can perhaps not do sometimes when you're just doing live content, right? But the consequences are that poorly edited episodes can sound unprofessional, and it will distract the listeners. The last thing you want is a distracted listener, okay? You want to make sure that you polish your episodes. Sometimes leaving in mistakes and unclear segments can confuse your audience. And a confused audience or a confused listener, guess what happens? They stop listening, they stop coming, they won't even buy your product because they're confused about who you're talking to. So that's number 4, edit and polish your episodes. Lastly, number 5, review and launch your content. Make sure that you review your episodes because that ensures that they meet your quality standards before releasing. A well planned launch generates excitement and anticipation among your audience. One of the things, I just got off of a call with one of my students and clients, and I said, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to generate more excitement around your launch. So we're going to have like a launch party for your podcast. And so when you don't launch, and I guess what I should say, when you don't create excitement around your episodes and your podcast, and you do that without reviewing the episodes, and they don't meet your quality standards before you release them, you got to make sure that you do that, because without reviewing, this can lead to mistakes being broadcast and again damaging your credibility. A poorly executed launch can fail to capitalize on the initial excitement and momentum. And so, as a result, you won't have a successful launch. And it's not that you can't launch without having some type of initial, launch party, or something like that. It just depends on where you want to go with your podcasting. But I can say this: when you generate excitement, you can be assured that There are people that's anticipating your launch, people that really cannot wait until your first episode is aired. It's just like waiting for an episode of a TV show or a live stream on like the streaming channels on Roku or what have you. When excitement is generated, then you have people that's waiting. You have people that will share the posts or share some of your content or announcements, right? And so you definitely want to generate some excitement and get some momentum around your podcast. So there you have it. These are the 5 steps. Now, this is not all inclusive. However, this is a good place to start. Develop a content plan, structure your episodes, craft engaging content, edit and polish your episodes, review, and launch. And so, launching a podcast can provide many opportunities to grow your business. But you have to start with one single step, and that is to decide you are going to take action. And if you're looking to launch your podcast and you need some assistance or you need a roadmap, then book a strategy success call with me. That is, if you're interested in closing the gap between where you are now and where you want to go, and how I can assist you in filling in the gap. Perhaps you are in a place where you are trying to start and you don't know how to get started. Or maybe you started and you don't know how to move forward. You've lost your momentum. On the call, I'll share options that's available for us to either work together or you can just leave with a success strategy. But if it makes sense at that time for us to work together, we'll discuss how to move forward. So go ahead, book your success strategy call. All you have to do is go to bit.ly/pod launch call. That's bit.ly/pod launch call. PODLAUNCH call. And I am excited and looking forward to talking with you. So I want to close with a scripture. Today's scripture is Psalms 91. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. So thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pursuing your entrepreneurial dreams with passion and purpose. So, you ready? Let's go.